Hare Krishna. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. We continue reading from Caitanya Caritamrta, Adi-Lila, chapter 6. We have been reading the glories of Advaita Acharya. And in these texts, in this section of this chapter, we are hearing about the super excellent position of the devotee where the devotee feels so much bliss that Krishna himself wants to taste this bliss. So he comes as a devotee. He comes as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in the mood of a devotee. So reading from text 113, Advaita Acharya Gosani Ramahima Apar, Yanhar Hunkare Kaila Chaitanya Avatar. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta, Swami Srila Prabhupada. The glories of Sri Advaita Acharya are boundless, for his sincere vibrations brought about Lord Chaitanya's descent upon this earth. So it was Lord Chaitanya, it was Advaita Acharya out of his compassion for us, for the degraded position of us, of the living entities in this Kali Yuga, where he felt, no, God has to come himself. God has to come himself to save us. So Krishna came as Lord Chaitanya, Sankirtan Pracharya, Sabha Jagatarila, Advaita Prasade, Loka Prema Dhana Paila. He liberated the universe by preaching Sankirtan. Thus the people of the world received the treasure of love of Godhead through the mercy of Sri Advaita. So the living entities of the universe are liberated. Why? Because of the mercy of Advaita Acharya, by the Sankirtan process. By Sankirtan process, everyone gets delivered. Everyone gets liberated. Huh? And what did everyone receive? Not only liberation, but love of Godhead. Love of Godhead, which is so rare. It's called treasure. It's the most valuable treasure. Advaita Mahima Ananta ke pare kahite se likhi ye shuni Mahajana haite. Who can describe the unlimited glories of Advaita Acharya? I write here as much as I have known from great authorities. Acharya Charane Mora Koti Namaskar, Ite Kichu Aparad Nalabe Amar. I offer my obeisances 10 million times to the lotus feet of Sri Advaita Acharya. Please do not take offense at this. Tomar Mahima Koti Samudra Agad Tahar Iyata Kahi Ebara Aparad. Your glories are as fathomless as millions of oceans and seas. Speaking of its measure is a great offense indeed. So the glories of Advaita Acharya are unlimited. He's incarnation of Mahavishnu. So he is an incarnation of Krishna. Krishna has unlimited glories. Glories unlimited. And so thinking that the glories of the Lord or that the glories of his incarnations have a limit, it is an offense. Why? Because it means you're not able to understand the position of God. You know, as we were just speaking in Bhagavatam, we cannot understand God completely, but just try to understand a bit about God can help us to revive our love of God. Jaya 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 Sri Advaita Acharya, Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Arya. All glories to Sri Advaita Acharya. All glories to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the superior Lord Nityananda. Dui shloke kahila Advaita Tattva Nirupana Pancha Tattvera Vichar Kichoshuna Bhaktagana. Thus, in 2 verses, I have described the truth concerning Advaita Acharya. Now, Devotees, please hear about the 5 truths, Pancha Tattva. Shri Rupa Raghunath Pade Yara Ash Chaitanya Charitamrita Kahe Krishna Das. Praying at the lotus feet of Shri Rup and Shri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I Krishna Das narrate Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita, following in their footsteps. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports to Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi-Lila, chapter 6, describing the glories of Shri Advaita Acharya. Jai, Advaita Acharya ki jai. We'll move on to chapter 7, Lord Chaitanya in 5 features. Gati eka gatim natva hinar hadika sadhakam Shri Chaitanyam likhiyate asya prema bhakti vadan yata. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, S.Bhagavatam Swami Shilpa Prabhupada. Let me first offer my respectful obeisances unto Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the ultimate goal of life for one bereft of all possessions in this material world, and is the only meaning for one advancing in spiritual life. Thus, let me write about his magnanimous contribution of devotional service in love of God. A person in the conditioned stage of material existence is in an atmosphere of helplessness. But the conditioned soul under the illusion of Maya or the external energy thinks that he is completely protected by his country, society, friendship, and love, not knowing that at the time of death, none of these can save him. So we are happily sleeping in the lap of Maya. Happily, we think we are in a very safe position. We think my country, my society, my family, my money, my knowledge, my strength, my everything, anything and everything can save me. But we don't understand when death comes, we'll be kicked out of this body. No one can stop that. No one can stop. So we are in an atmosphere of helplessness. We are being thrown in one body, then again pulled out of it, again pushed in another body, helplessly. We can't stop that. We can't decide, oh, now I want to stay in this body for X amount of years, and nobody can do anything about it. And in my next body, I will go at this and this time, and in this and this universe, in this and this body, and I'll be there for this and this time. No, we are not given this choice. We are helpless in this matter. The laws of material nature are so strong that none of our material possessions can save us from the cruel hands of death. In the Bhagavad Gita 13.9, it is stated, Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadi Dukkha Doshanu Darshanam. One who is actually advancing must always consider the 4 principles of miserable life, namely birth, death, old age, and disease. Disease, we are helpless in this COVID situation. Since more than 2 years, the entire world has been grappled by it. Could anyone do with anything about it? No. What we did, oh yes, we say, yes, we made vaccines, But can we stop COVID from coming? No, we can't. Can we stop people from dying? No, we can't. So this is the real miseries of being here in the material world. One cannot be saved from all these miseries unless he takes shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Krishna says, all the devotees say that taking shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord is like an umbrella. It's an umbrella because the miseries are raining like cats and dogs. But when we take shelter at the lotus feet of God, what happens? We get protected from the miseries. Not that the miseries won't come, but we won't feel the suffering of it. We won't feel the pangs of it because we have the protection of the lotus feet of God. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is therefore the only shelter for all conditioned souls. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he's God himself. He's God himself. So he's our only shelter. An intelligent person therefore does not put his faith in any material possessions, but completely takes shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. So as we were just reading in Bhagavatam, we said, In Bhagavad Gita 4.40, chapter 4, text 40, Krishna says that for the doubting soul, there is neither happiness in this world nor the next. So, and Prabhupada in his purport says that people who have no faith in the word of God, people who are always doubtful, then they are not going to find good either in this world or in the next. So we need to hear the word of God with faith, with full faith, and in fact, not have faith in any of our material possessions. We do the opposite. We don't have faith in the word of God. We don't have faith in God's instructions, but we have faith in our material possessions. So we need to change that. Change that. How can we change? The more we hear about God, about God's glorious position, his super excellent position, how great he is, automatically our faith will increase. So we need to hear about God without envy. The moment, because we are envious, we don't want to hear how great God is, then that's the reason we don't get this. We are not able to hear it. But so we should hear about God, knowledge about God without envy. So then such a person is called akinchana, or one who does not possess anything in this material world. So a person who's taken complete shelter at the lotus feet of God. So he understands the position. He's totally understood his position, position of God, position of his material possessions. He's called akinchana, because he rightly knows nothing belongs to me. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is also known as akinchana gochara, for he can be achieved by a person who does not put his faith in material possessions. Akinchana gochara. So how can we understand God? How can we revive our love for God? How can we be with God? How? We have to have faith in God instead of the material possessions. Therefore, for the fully surrendered soul who has no material possessions on which to depend, Lord Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu is the only shelter. So a person who's rightfully understood the position of God, his position, the position of material energy, he is completely surrendered soul. He's a soul surrendered to God. For him, Lord Chaitanya is the only shelter. Everyone depends upon dharma, religiosity, artha, economic development, kama, sense gratification, and ultimately moksha, salvation. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, due to his magnanimous character, can give more than salvation. So dharma, artha, kama, moksha, that is what mainly the Vedas deal with. Dharma, artha, kama, moksha. That's what all the living entities are working for. The majority. But Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he's called Mahavadanyaya. So in this Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, moksha is the ultimate, right? Liberation. But Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he's called Mahavadanyaya. He can give us more than just liberation. What can he give us? Love of God. Prema Pumartho Mahan. Therefore, in these words, the words hinarthadika sadhakam indicate that although by material estimation, salvation is of a quality superior to the inferior interests of religiosity, economic development, and sense gratification, above salvation, there is the position of devotional service and transcendental love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So an ordinary religionist, for him, liberation or salvation means the end. But for a devotee, real life begins from the point of liberation. The real life starts from liberation. It's not the end, it's the beginning of real life. And the living entity, from the point of liberation, what does he engage in? Devotional service. Engages in devotional service, revives his pure love for God. transcendental love for God, which is there in every living entity. That's the position, original position of every living entity. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the bestower of this great benediction. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Prema Pumartho Mahan. Love of Godhead is the ultimate benediction for all human beings. So our perfection of human life is when we can revive this love of God. That is our perfection, love of God. And love of God is there in the heart of every living entity. Every soul has love for God. Each and every soul has love for God. Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami, the author of Sri Chaitanya Caritamrta, therefore first offers his respectful obeisances unto Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu before describing his magnanimity in bestowing love of God, Godhead. So first of all, Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami, before he tells us about the glories, about the magnanimity, the magnanimous mood of Lord Chaitanya. He's offering obeisances to Lord Chaitanya. Why is Lord Chaitanya magnanimous? Because he is freely giving love for God. Krishna does not give it easily. Lord Chaitanya is Krishna himself, but he has come in the mood of a devotee. He's come in the mood of a devotee, and so he's freely giving love for God to anyone and everyone. The only thing what we have to do is accept it. That's all. We just have to accept it. So, any questions or comments?
No.
Okay. So we'll stop here for today. Thank you so much for listening and joining in. Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Shilpa Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.